It's a pretty quiet day around the homestead today. Let's just have a do-nothing day. There were so many things on the to-do list for today, but when I woke up, there was just such a quietness inside, such a slowness, that we had to ditch the to-do list. We need to do something a little more delicious today. So if we're making that to-do list all based on the external situations, for instance, this would be a perfect weekend for the painters to come. In fact, this weekend there isn't much else to accomplish. It'd be a perfect weekend to go down to the coast and spend time with friends while the painters came and dealt with the inside paint. And externally, there's such a flow there. Life is actually about freedom, not getting things done. And it's really easy to think it is about getting things done, because we've all have this terrible conditioning that it's us versus life. Life is either this adversary that we have to fight against or struggle to be okay, or that life is just like this neutral force that we have to place ourselves in. And so we forget that life is actually about freedom, and that it doesn't all fall apart if we're not in the driver's seat making sure everything gets done. So if you have a weekend unfolding in front of you, you can put down a huge to-do list, all based on really excellent external alignment. So let's say the neighbors call and they want you to come for dinner, and it was perfect because you wanted to borrow their ladder because the weather's going to be awesome and you're going to use that ladder to paint the outside of the house. And doesn't that line up nicely? Now that's one kind of flow. But there's another kind of flow where we come inside and we risk noticing what would feel amazing for us over the weekend. The weather's going to be sunny. Wouldn't it be lovely to go slow this weekend and putz around the garden and plant some new bulbs if we felt like it? Or maybe do nothing at all. And then we can have a fear that comes in there that says, oh my God, if we do nothing at all, how will the taxes get done, the house get painted, the garden get planted? But I want to suggest to you that those things will actually unfold, maybe not this coming weekend, but if we have the courage to look inside and listen to what feels true internally, not based on external situation, not us against life, but internally what feels delicious, what feels like an exhale, what feels like freedom, what feels like, life is so fabulous, that all of those things eventually find their way in the sweetest timing, almost like it was life putting it all together in the first place. Almost like we weren't really separate from a neutral or adversary life, but that in fact we in this moment are a part of life. Almost like life is breathing our lungs, blinking our eyes. That life actually brought forward this house that we're living in. That if we look at how it came to be, it wasn't really us making something happen. Almost like life's actually been supporting these movements. Now, this might feel super risky to you because there's such a deep conditioning that we have to work against the tides of life if anything's going to happen. But I promise you, life is not about struggle. Life is not about making things happen. Life is about freedom. But we've all been conditioned in a culture where life is against us and we have to struggle. And the fuel behind all of that is fear. And you can recognize in yourself probably a whole lot of fear driving so many decisions. If that's the setup in your system, it doesn't mean that you can't have freedom. It means it's going to be a risk. It's going to be a risk to come inside, feel your heart, feel your hands, feel your feet, feel your body. You're going to have to imagine what would feel very delicious. Some of you guys have had such a lifetime of living in the head. That in itself is radical, which is fine. Let that be the first step. Practice that. But for those of you that are really willing to have freedom, if we turn our to-do list around And instead of looking at all the external situations that you have to make happen, what if that to-do list reflected all of the delicious things that you would feel amazing doing this coming weekend? Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that weekend is going to feel like freedom. It might even give you the momentum to carry that practice into your week. It might almost be like life was made for this, but you're going to have to risk it. For my part, I woke up slow this morning, and I'm going to go outside and walk in all of this beautiful wilderness.